Concern is growing. The Middle East is teetering on the brink of a wider war after the Biden administration struck back at an Iranian-backed terror group for injuring 3 U.S. troops in a drone attack in Iraq yesterday. But the strike may not do enough to please critics of President Biden, who warn his strategy in recent weeks has only emboldened Iran. Let's bring in Behnam Ben Taleblu, Senior Fellow at the Foundation for the Defense of Democracies. Behnam, thank you so much for being here. And we're just getting word, by the way, from our correspondent Trey Yingst in Tel Aviv that another cargo ship has been attacked, this time by Houthi rebels, in the Red Sea. It appears to go on and on and on, Behnam.
That's right. It's a pleasure to be with you. Look, there's at least 2 separate conflict spirals geographically located outside of the Gaza Strip. Number one is Iraq and Syria, where for the past 2.5 months there have been over 100 different rocket, mortar, drone, and even missile attacks by Iran-backed proxies in Iraq against the U.S. force presence there. And there's only been a handful of very limited pinprick retaliatory strikes by the U.S. that actually do more to embolden Iran and its proxies than to reestablish deterrence. The second theater is the one you just mentioned, where the Houthis have first been trying to strike Israel directly with drones, cruise missiles, and ballistic missiles. And when they've been unsuccessful, they've now been trying to fire these projectiles at international shipping. And there, despite even the presence of the U.S. new maritime security construct there, they have been more successful, and they are increasing insurance premiums and forcing ships to be rerouted.
Now, when we strike at these militants who are carrying out these attacks, it strikes me as somewhat bizarre. We killed 1 militant, I believe, in an attack in Syria yesterday, or maybe it was Iraq, but either way, 1 militant. We surely know, Behnam, where all of these militants are. Why aren't we doing more to kill more of them? They've declared war on us, after all.
Indeed, and they haven't just declared it, they've acted on it. If you look at the response ratio, even going into October 7, it was quite poor, especially the response ratio in Iraq, where the U.S. has had a penchant for absorbing these strikes rather than responding in places like Syria, which traditionally has been treated like a free-fire zone. Look, there's a strategy that the administration needs to take here, and that is to, during times of peace, meaning when they are not being fired on, to actually target the depots and the facilities that house these weapons, and then during times of war, or when they're responding to fire, to actually go against A, the point of origin where the weapon is coming from, B, the headquarters of the groups that actually have given the go order for these strikes, and C, to find any locations where the fighters may be fleeing to or may be co-located with other terror proxy groups and fire on them as well. And the reluctance of the Biden administration to do that is begetting round after round after round of escalation by these proxy forces, which think they have the upper hand.
Yeah, you list A, B, and C there. What about D, doing something about the people who run these militant organizations? They're all sitting in Tehran, Iran. What do we do about Iran?
That's absolutely right. Ultimately, responding against the proxy is going to have limited value if the patron thinks it can continue to get away with it. The problem is the U.S. in the very short term has had a poor track record against the proxy even. So rather than risk running or putting a loaded gun in a shaky hand and risk running a social science experiment of how the Biden administration would face directly against the Islamic Republic of Iran, I think it's wise to first try to reestablish deterrence and signal resolve first before then looking at other targets potentially within the Islamic Republic. But the key is first respond outside, signal resolve, reestablish deterrence, tell the Iranians that there is a track record for them to have to take seriously before things need to needlessly escalate.
And just quickly, Iran has said it will, quote, destroy Tel Aviv as a response to the strike that killed an Iranian general, General Suva, I believe. That's presumably just bluster. They're not really going to take military action because they know what it would bring. Is it correct?
Well, in general, the regime is actually acting on its intent. Every time it says death to Israel, it has actually funded these proxy and terror groups that are doing a slow-motion genocide against the only Jewish and democratic state in the region. So it is wise not to dismiss these threats out of hand directly. I don't think the Islamic Republic would engage, but I think you're likely to see an intensification of the proxy war, perhaps with the Syrian and Lebanese front, which have been less quiet than the Iraqi and Yemeni front thus far. But nothing can be ruled out, even though it's a matter of probability.
Behnam Ben Taleblu from the Foundation for the Defense of Democracies. A real treat to get your expertise today. Thank you, sir. Rich?
Thank you.